I think I got exactly what I wanted from this chapter because I knew things, we already knew like things were going to resolve. We knew like okay, they got the strategy gone through, everything that's going to help defeat Victor and get Andy back. Things were, looking up. Everything was like moving smoothly with this series. We got a lot of good action. And this one actually I think I just realized I got more than what I like initially thought of like going into this whole like mini arc with the spoil Uma and stuff. But essentially, like we got this chapter, everything like kind of like just got right back into place. Everything was looking good. Like we started out here, we have like I'm just gonna go with Jake Gollinger by her name. It's Fuko now because here we have Andy just referring to her as she is, and that obviously meant a lot to her. It's nice to see her happy and stuff. But after she ended up putting the card back into Andy's head and bringing him back, like this mass amount of water came in from after all that destruction washing over, and here she is like waking up a while later, like in the hospital, like a hospital kind of like style, like setup in their whole union, and she's like upset, like saying how Shen and Andy kind of just like thought of this strategy and this very risky, double-edged kind of plan that could have easily not resolved well, and she didn't want him to like leave again, and it was really nice to see some emotional kind of consequences from this right now and see how exactly she's responding to it. But it's nice to see them just in discussion talking about how she like how well she did and how she have made him very happy, and he appreciated everything that she did in order to get him back. So that was just very nice in general. I like that a lot. But let's get to the meat of this chapter. I was really hyped to see where this one goes, and like the chapter was like primarily and majorly set around just talking. It was centering around like the results of stuff going on and just being all right. Well, what happened in this chapter? Well, okay, we'll talk about this chapter was what's been going on in the last couple chapters. So, while you guys were doing your thing, we're going to talk about what went on with all the other missions. And you got the Apocalypse book just giving them information on what happened. Giving them the quest results, and he's like saying, okay, yeah, the Uma burn, they're capturing of the Uma burn successful, and from that, like we actually found some of their names too, which it was one of the things I really wanted, because I was like saying that when all the guys showed up to fight against Victor, I was like, well, it's kind of weird that you have all these characters and they're part of the main group, but we don't know their names. I just thought that was kind of weird, like this far in, because we're almost 20 chapters in. It's not like chapter 4. It's chapter 19 at this point, and we're finally getting some of their names, and some of them aren't even directly stated of like who's who. We give I'm trying to think of how to pronounce it. Shuiz, Tatiana. We know Tatiana's the girl in the robot. Billy, Ishin, Phil, and Top. And then after that, I'm wondering if Phil. I think Phil is Phil or Top. I think is the fast kid. But from that point, I don't think it's stated otherwise, like who's who. The only thing I could guess is maybe they're set in order. So I'm guessing the Juiz is the Swords Girl, and I think that's French. I'm not too sure. But he's like just talking about like all the stuff they've done and how because of that one they've got an extra member. So we're gonna get a brand new character at some point added into this shortly after. Who knows how long it'll be? Maybe it'll be this guy that like was shown at the end. But we see like they're just talking about like these other ones. There was the Eat Uma that was successful by Juiz, Tatiana, Billy, Phil, and Top again. There was like the Burn Uma, like oh okay, maybe he can take the spot of the maybe he can take the spot that was added by this now an 11th member, and things are just kind of like oh yeah, they're just mostly talking. They're just talking about results, but at the same time, I thought it was really cool just to see this event of like what we're going to be witnessing after each of these like rounds of quests. And on top of that, we're getting some of the characters. Like there's one of them was the guy Vorgel. I don't know how to pronounce Nico Vorgel. So I'm guessing that's the dude with the headband. It's directly showing him, only him, when stating one person's name. So I'm guessing that too is, and the reward for that one is all the languages in the world are pretty much unified. So everybody is going to talk and speak English, so if you try and speak another language, people won't be able to understand you. But if you just speak English, then they're going to all be able just to talk and communicate, which is really interesting because you have that Chinese girl that was with Shen, and so him talking to her normally, she can understand it. But if he tries to talk in Chinese, she can't understand him. I'm fairly certain that's Chinese. If I'm wrong, then shit. But anyway, while they're all kind of just talking about it, they're like given the location of Uma on repair after the stuff with the spoil Uma. They're like, okay, cool, yeah, things are going really well. But where things didn't go well was what happened with one of the Uma, I think they said it was the unseen Uma, and the people that they sent to go scout it out failed. And now so you have this guy who, this invisible dude who is pretty much just being captured and tortured by this weird dude with an eye patch, who's just like got him strapped up to a chair and he's like slicing into him. I'm wondering if that guy is going to actually end up being like the 11th member, because I feel like that guy has to be powerful. He must have his own ability if he was able to capture this dude and do these things. So, plus if he's a villain, he's got to be powerful. Otherwise, they're just going to completely run a train on him the second they show up. So I'm guessing that guy also is going to, like I said, have some crazy ability and be really, really hard to deal with whenever they see him. And I don't know. It's just when you have like a crazy character like that early on, it's clearly significant. It just makes you think, oh yeah, they're gonna add him to the team at some point. But when I was talking about earlier of the thing that exactly I wanted, one of the things was, oh yeah, I wanted some characters' names. We got some names. We didn't get exactly who's who, so that's fine. The only one that I actually think otherwise would be able to kind of just say is the dude in the armor, the Japanese armor, because there was a Japanese name in there, Ishin. So I'm guessing that that's him just because he's the very obvious Japanese guy. And if you have just a Japanese named character, then the first character I'm going to say, oh, that's probably a Japanese named guy is the dude in the Japanese armor set. But before they even went on the mission to go get the spoil Uma, I was really interested in what this Uma Galaxy was, where you have this really ominous space name. And because they failed to get the unseen Uma, they're like, all right, the penalty, time for a penalty. And they bring this guy out, and he looks badass. He's like this weird space thing. Plus, we're seeing like the consequences of messing up. Like the Apocalypse book just opens its mouth and lets out like it's this weird wisp with the planet in it. And so you have this very odd space-looking creature with planets and stuff, like at least designed it. I'm wondering what exactly it's going to do and what it's going to result in. Is it going to be like essentially like literally a living galaxy, or is it going to be like a person that could, like, maybe it's like a monster that can utilize stuff from space. Like maybe it'll be able to attack with like cosmic radiation, or it'll be able to shoot a comet out of its chest or something. Maybe something like that. It's got to be something crazy. I mean, it's clearly a very powerful creature, and design-wise, it looks badass. I don't think it's literally like, I'm a living galaxy, I can destroy this solar system like nothing or something like that. But I don't know, we'll see. Other than that, though, comment below. Tell me your thoughts about this chapter. I really like just getting information. I like seeing the information. I like seeing the characters just go over the results of stuff that happened, because it's something, like I said, we're going to see more of. I like to get at the certain aspects of information, as soon as we can, and at a point where we can say like, okay, we're going to be getting more of this. This is kind of the stuff that we need to, expect them to look out for. Obviously, this is why they can't just mess around. They have to get stuff done, or they're going to have these penalties that are clearly going to end up being very dangerous. But anyway, we'll see how crazy this creature is and how powerful it is in the next chapter. But until then, I really appreciate you comment below. Tell me your thoughts about this chapter and about this series, and I really appreciate you thumbs up the video, press the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. Other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.